What's going on, everyone? Juicebags here, and welcome back to some Dungeon Defenders 2. Today I wanted to take a quick moment and talk about how to build the perfect defense. Now, for the sake of this video, I'm going to use the Flame Auras and the Monk as an experiment. Now, first things first, let's hop on our Monk here. Let's say, just for the sake of the video, that the Monk has 300 Ascension. So I've got, 100 Ascension points there. I've got 100 here. There's 20. And then there's 80 there. And then say we went defense crit chance, defense crit damage, the range gambit, that'll be 90, right? And then that leaves 10 more. Say we put those other 10 into movement speed, just for a little quality of life to get around the map. Now, when we take a look at the Flame Aura, first things first, we want to go with the big three as far as shards go. So every damaging defense can start off with it, Deadly Strikes, Defense Rate, and Destruction. If you start with those three shards on every single damaging defense in the game, and then tweak your setup from there, you're going to have an easy time progressing. Now, before we do anything, let's throw just any old relic on. I want something that doesn't have... Let's go with this Fortitude. Let's equip this one, just so we get the... Oh, can't do that one. I gotta go a purple or better. Let's see. There's a range boom. We'll use that for the example. Now, the first thing I want to do is just look at my defenses with any relic on there and ask myself, am I happy with what I'm getting? Now, out of the three main things that we're looking for, just look to your shards, and that is range, rate, and power. Now, as far as defense power goes, sky's the limit. None of us are happy with what we got. We always want more, so we're just going to ignore that one as basically the more the merrier in the destruction or defense power department. Now we're going to take a look at the range and the rate. Now, first off, the range. Now, I happen to know that the range on a Flame Aura is 2250. If I look at the range on the tower, the attack range is 1452, so we're a ways away from the range cap. Now, the range caps are not found anywhere in game. However, you can click that link down in the description below to Lightrayne spreadsheet. It has all of the defense rates, defense range caps, everything listed there, plus a lot of other useful information. On the Flame Aura, it's 2250. That's just the number that we're looking for. And it's actually, on a Flame Aura, it's very, very hard to get to that state. Now, if we look at the attack rate currently is 0.4. And we do know that the attack rate on a Flame Aura, as far as getting to the caps, would be 0.31. So I can get another hit off, or I can increase the amount of time that I'm hitting by 9 1/100ths of a second, which is not a ton, but it actually is significant when you look at the actual DPS calculation. So I'm not quite at the rate cap either. Now, for those two towers, I want to increase both of these numbers. So the natural go-to, since I don't have any gilded shards yet, is going to be defense rate and defense range. Now, when you're choosing a relic to put on the tower, it's usually in your best interest if you find one that has one of the mods you're looking for. That way it's going to save you a little bit of coin in moving mods around and tinkering that item. Let's go with this bad boy right here, the defense rate servo. Now, in this particular case, defense rate, as soon as I get a gilded shard, I'm going to free up that mod slot, as I would no longer need that mod. However, for my very first mod, I want to go ahead and go with defense rate. Now, when we take a look at the tower, we see it is down to 0.31, and as it says right next to it, we are at the max. So I no longer need to take a look at rate at all. Now, if you choose to, you can look at the range and say, are you happy with the range, or do you want more range? If you wanted more range, then that would be the time to throw on that range shard, or range mod, pardon me, and get your range beefed up just a little bit. Now take a thought to what you want this defense to do. Now, this is, of course, an AoE defense. It's going to hit up to 10 targets at a time. I personally use flame auras as kind of a general lane clearer, and it doesn't really have a targeted goal. So my goal with the flame auras is just to get lots of damage out to lots of different enemies, not necessarily specializing against any of one particular enemy type. Now, one of the easiest routes for that, or one of the best go-to routes for that, is going to be a melee boom. Anti-melee and melee boom are both super strong mods, early game all the way up to, say, floor 100 or so in Onslaught, and that's probably when you would start to want to rethink whether you want to keep that melee boom on there. Now, there's lots of different options for these defenses depending on what you want it to do. Say you want it to specialize in killing orcs, well, you can always go with the anti-orc mod. Say you wanted to have it specialized in killing mini-bosses, you could go with an anti-mini-boss mod. Now remember, an AoE defense is going to hit more targets for not as hard as a single target defense. So if we looked at a lightning strike aura next to it, the lightning strike aura is going to do more damage per hit. However, it's only going to hit one mob, where the flame aura is hitting 10. And that's where this general use flame aura comes into play. It's important though that you pick what function you want your towers to perform, and there really is no wrong answer. If you're having a problem with lady orcs, then get something designed to kill lady orcs. If you're having a problem with cyborgs, then get something designed to kill cyborgs. And you're going to get this through the various anti-mods. Are you going to use, say, a boost aura every single time? You might want to consider putting one of the boost mods on there. If, you want to use a boost aura periodically, but not constantly, then that's probably not going to be your best choice. However, once you pick a goal that you want this defense to do, in the situation, like I mentioned, where a general use lane clear, my personal go-to is going to be anti-melee, melee boom, and the defense range servo. Now, a lot of people are going to ask, hey, this is an aura, I want to use it on cyborgs, what's the deal with Tenacity? And basically, Tenacity is a great mod. It's going to help you with cyborgs, it's going to help you in Kursakazi lanes. However, remember that defense range can, in a lot of situations, kill the enemy before it gets in range to you. So now in a perfect setup like I happen to have, defense range is getting the job done before a cyborg can get close enough to get its attack off on me. So Tenacity or defense range, there is not a wrong choice. Whatever choice you particularly want to use is better. Say, you want to get your auras up close to an entrance, say the top of the stairs here were the entrance and you wanted to put an aura really close to it, then Tenacity would probably be a better choice and you're not concerned about range. However, if you want to place those out at maximum range and get the most range benefit you can out of it, then you might want to go with that defense range mod. Basically, I just wanted to make sure that everyone picked a general use for their defenses. We'll take a look at some of mine. As we mentioned, my flame auras are a general lane clear, so I want something that's just going to put lots of damage out to lots of enemies. This is what I go with. Now, say I wanted to take a look at my Skyguard towers. My Skyguard towers, anti-support, controller servo, and defense range. I'm already at the speed caps, I wanted more range, and then I'm increasing damage to the various types of flying mobs through controller servo, which is actually hitting everything that can be slowed, and the anti-support servo, which is taking care of the kobolds and kobolds. Now, say we were talking about something more along the lines of killing bosses. I've got this particular one. The bosses that give me the most problem are the Lady Orc bosses, Nash, and the Assassins. Scar Nash can be quite tough. That's the two bosses that give me the most problems. So I went with mods that are going to hit, for the most part, all aspects of those two types of bosses. Looking at Lady Orcs, Nash particularly, Nash is a mini-boss, Nash is a melee mob, and Nash is a chaos mob. So all three of those anti-mods are going to stack. Taking a look at Scar Nash is a mini-boss, Scar Nash is melee when it's attached to you, and Scar Nash is a chaos mob. So situationally, I guess the assassin doesn't even matter when it's not attached to you, it's not killing you then. So when the assassin is out doing its dirty, this is going to help me out with that particular situation. You know, taking it one step further and going over and looking at, say, frost mobs. I've got an anti-frost servo, an anti-orc servo, and a defense range servo. When I look at frost mobs, the thing that gets me the most with frost mobs is frost orcs. So I wanted to make sure to get the frost damage and the orc damage into that relic, and this particular defense is only used on those frost mob lanes. Looking at another general use tower, however, something that I've made to give me a slight edge on frost mob lanes, we've got just a regular old poison dart tower, and I can use this defense anywhere. I don't really use oil in my setup, so I'm not worried about fire removing oil. So I've got the defense rate servo, a piercer servo to pierce those bubbles, and then a fire servo. Now all the enemies out there that can take the fire damage are getting hit with fire damage. Plus, any frost mobs on the regular dart attack, the damage will be doubled, as it is fire. So go through and pick a specific use for your defenses other than just general progression. If you're using general progression, you really can almost go with that anti-melee and melee boom mod on just about any defense in the game and win. So once you get to the point where you're starting to get stumped in Onslaught, it might be time to start specializing your defenses to kill a particular mob, and that is what's going to make the absolute best defense for you. So thank you very much for watching. Click that like button, please subscribe to the channel, and I will be back soon with more Dungeon Defenders 2. Take it easy.